G'day everybody, Luke Fitzpatrick here. Let's get straight into this week's fishing video. Today I'm going to be talking about fishing diaries, sounders, metal lures and queenfish. Just a reminder, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. Now let's get straight into the video. So folks, first thing I want to cover is fishing diaries. I often get quite a few messages through Facebook and Instagram from people asking me what's biting and where. And to help me answer those questions, apart from the time that I spend out on the water observing what's going on and actually fishing, a lot of the time I rely on my fishing diary. I've got two parts to my fishing diary. It's very, very simple. The first part is the Angler's Almanac. Alright, now I don't just get it just so I can look at the moon phases and bite times and things. I use it to keep a record of what I'm catching and where. So basically after a day's fishing I come back and I jot down some notes, basically just to have a look at where I've been fishing, what I've caught, what the moon phase was, what time I roughly caught them, technique and that sort of thing. Then when I get back home, clean the boat, unload it, all that sort of stuff, I go into the office and I've got an Excel spreadsheet where I enter the same data into the Excel spreadsheet. And then what that gives me is over the last however many years, I can go back and I can look at, say today, and I can look at this exact same date back through the years, where I was fishing, what I was catching, how I was catching them. And then that gives me a fair idea of what's biting and where. And then I can head out and actually have a crack at those fish again. So fishing diaries, very, very important. If you haven't got one already and you'd actually like to see mine, maybe not all the detail contained in it, but how I've actually set it up on Excel spreadsheet, then drop me a message through Facebook or just leave a comment under this video and I'll make a video about it. So on this day, my fishing diary was telling me it is a great time of year on the Fraser Coast to be chasing queenfish. So I headed out with a bit of a plan in mind to hit some of the ledges around Big Woody Island, that sort of area, looking for queenfish on a surface lure. And if I needed to, I'd then drop certain lure types so I could work my way through the water column. What I discovered, however, it was a very hot, very bright sort of sunny day. I was out there not at the ideal time. I was restricted to only fishing in the middle of the day, and I think the fish were down deep and they weren't very active. So I started using my Humminbird side imaging sounder quite a lot, trying to locate any bait. I saw one tiny little spray of bait up near a rock ledge. I moved in a bit closer on the side imager and I could see an insignificant little patch of bait on the sounder. Few more run past and I started to realize there was a bit more there. They were down deeper. They just really weren't being stirred up by anything at the moment, but it was the best I'd seen so far, so I decided to have a bit of a crack. This leads me to talk about the lure I was using on this day. It is a Yakamito S Edge, 25 gram, and the color code on it is 006. It's a metal lure, nice and cheap, and it is exclusively available only at Complete Angler stores around Australia, including Camping World and Complete Angler in Maryborough. Now I call them metal lures. Some people call them slugs, others call them spinners. I'm sure there's lots of other names out there. I'm not exactly sure which one's right or wrong, but I just call them metal lures and they are incredibly effective. Most people probably associate them with being thrown towards tuna schools and things, but I find you can throw them at a huge range of species and they'll readily take them. There's 3 retrieves that I use when using metal lures: a slow roll, a fast burn, and a twitch and run. The slow roll is fairly simple. You just cast it out as far as you can, let it sink to the desired depth, and then just a nice slow roll straight back to the boat. The twitch and run, it's a little bit more complicated. You throw it out, let it sink to the desired depth, and then as you're rolling it back towards the boat, you sort of shake the rod tip left and right, and that reverberates through the line down to the lure, making the lure dart left and right. I tried both those techniques on this day and they didn't work. So I went to the last one, the fast burn. First, I let it sink for about 5 seconds, brought it back to the boat, no luck. Then I let it sink about 8 to 10 seconds, and that's when I managed to land this first very small bait fish, but I knew I was in the zone. After I brought that little bait fish on board and he flicked himself off my lure, I then noticed behind the boat, about 20 meters away, a spray of bait. I'm not sure if it was my lure zipping through the water that stirred things up or whether something else triggered the fish, but this is what happened. There you go, folks. Fishing diary plus using your sounder plus metal lures equals queenfish on the Fraser Coast at this time of year. A couple of different retrieves, but eventually figured them out. One of the very cool things about running the Fish That Snag YouTube channel and Facebook page is I get sent communication from anglers all over the world, messages and photos and things, tips and tricks, all that sort of stuff. So I thought I'd start doing a bit of a shout out each week to one of those anglers who sends me a message. And this week it's going to go to Derek Dennis Leslie Jr. He's all the way over the other side of the world in Belize City. He sent me this photo of what they call a jewfish, spelled J-U-E. Kind of looks like what we would call in Australia a type of cod. There you go, folks. I'm all done. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, please hit the like button. Remember to subscribe. Take care, and I really do hope to see you out on the water one day.